pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards.
Since being selected as the first overall pick of the 2020 NBA Draft by the Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards has proved himself to be a certified superstar and is fighting to potentially even be the face of the league, with some people already comparing him to Michael Jordan. Along with this, their elite run throughout these current playoffs have made the Timberwolves look like they could be title contenders for years to come. Thus far throughout his career, Edwards has averaged 22.9 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game. Obviously, this is a very high bar for the rest of the 2020 class, but today I want to take a look at what happened to the 29 players selected after him in the first round of that 2020 NBA Draft, just to see if any of them even come close. While it's gone well for Ant-Man up to this point in time, things have not played out nearly as well for James Wiseman, who was the second overall pick of that 2020 draft. After the Golden State Warriors selected him, many people thought that he could be the missing piece for a potential second run of the team's dynasty, but scouts and fans alike were far off on what the league had in store for him. In February of his rookie season, he was sent down to the G League after failing to find a role for himself in the rotation. A knee injury then killed any chance that he had of having a breakout season in his second year. While Wiseman became a champion that season, he was unable to play in the postseason. It was pretty clear during the 2022-23 season that things were not going to work out for him in Golden State, and he was sent to the Pistons in a 4-team deal. Since joining the Pistons, Wiseman has been able to play a much bigger role than he did with the Warriors. However, with the emergence of Jalen Duren, he has struggled to break into that starting center spot. With pick number 3, the Charlotte Hornets got one of the most promising prospects in the entire draft class with LaMelo Ball. Heading into the draft, many believed that he was bound to be the number 1 overall pick, and people were shocked when he slid down to 3rd. He began his NBA career as the Rookie of the Year, averaging 15.7 points, 6.1 assists, 5.9 rebounds, and 1.6 steals a game. However, he was only able to play in 51 games that season due to a fractured wrist. In the 2021-22 season, Ball had the healthiest year of his career up to this point, playing in 75 games. His availability allowed him to put all his talents on full display, and he was named to the first and only All-Star game thus far throughout his career. Over the next 2 seasons, Ball has only been able to play a combined 58 games out of a possible 164. While he has continued to prove himself as an extremely talented player when he has been on the court, the amount of injuries that he's had at such young age is beginning to be a little bit concerning. Along with this, the Hornets front office has failed to put much talent around him despite having 4 years to do so. So while Ball did sign a contract extension in the 2023 offseason, there's definitely a chance that he could want out of things if they don't change soon. With the 4th overall pick, the Chicago Bulls selected Patrick Williams. His elite defensive ability led many to compare him to Kawhi Leonard, but thus far throughout his career, it appears that scouts got a little bit ahead of themselves. His career got off to a promising start, averaging 9.2 points and 4.6 rebounds per game, making the all-rookie team. However, he has not shown much improvement since that season. He got off to a hot start in the 2021-22 season, shooting a remarkable 51.7% from 3, but suffered a dislocated wrist that required surgery and only allowed him to play in 17 games that year. While he has bounced in and out of the starting lineup during his time with the Bulls, when he's healthy, he has proved himself as a reliable rotational player, even if he's fallen a bit short of expectations that were set for him coming into the draft. At the 5 spot, the Cleveland Cavaliers drafted Isaac Okoro. Okoro is another player that's gone on to be a solid starting caliber player, but has still fallen a bit short of the hype that comes with being a top 5 draft pick. He was a member of the 2020-21 All-Rookie team, averaging 9.6 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 1.9 assists per game. As the Cavs have continued to develop and bring in more talent, he's begun to come off the bench more and more, starting in 42 out of the 69 games that he played in this season. While there's a very slim chance that he's going to develop into an all-star caliber player, he has developed a very respectable 3-ball, going from 29% from beyond the arc in his rookie year to 39.1% in the 2023-24 season. This offense, as of right now, is running strictly through Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, when healthy, Jarrett Allen. So with all that in mind, Okoro is just kind of playing his part. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, which is BetterHelp. And honestly, I feel like I need them now more than ever. I had a pretty big loss in the family recently, and it's definitely taken a bit of a toll on me. Now, a therapist could help me process my emotions and help me move forward, which is great. And I also like the fact that you can go to BetterHelp, answer a few questions, and be matched up with a therapist who specializes in grief. If you're struggling with anything at all right now, you do not have to handle it alone. You can go to my link, betterhelp.com/sweatband, answer a couple of questions, and based on your answers, BetterHelp is going to match you up with one of their 30,000 plus therapists who think they can help you out the most. The therapist they pick for you will also have tons of experience dealing with whatever you are going through. Every single one of their therapists is licensed, has a master's or doctorate degree, and has spent over 3 years and 1,000 plus hours working with people just like you. But if for some reason the match isn't quite right, not a problem at all. You can easily switch to a new therapist with a single click of a button in your settings. Join over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier lifestyle. Visit betterhelp.com/sweatband or choose Sweatband during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Thank you to BetterHelp once again for sponsoring this video. With the 6th overall pick, the Atlanta Hawks selected Onyeka Okongwu. At the time this pick was made, Okongwu was expected to come in and take over the role of Clint Capella, serving as a dominant rebounder and interior defender, while also making for the perfect pick-and-roll partner for Trae Young. While this has been the archetype of his game throughout the first 4 seasons of his career, mainly getting buckets from layups and dunks, he has struggled to dethrone Capella as the team's starting center. The 2023-24 season, he averaged 10.2 points and 6.8 rebounds per game, making this the first time in his career that he's averaged double-digit points. Okongwu also has increased his minutes per game each of his 4 first seasons in the league, so in the case that Capella gets either traded or just starts to wind down his career, look for Okongwu to step into that role. At the 7th spot, the Detroit Pistons picked one of the bigger disappointments in the 2020 draft in Killian Hayes. Despite this draft only taking place 4 years ago, it appears that Hayes' potential might be capped a lot lower than Detroit fans would have wanted. His career got off to a rough start with him suffering a labral tear in his hip, only allowing him to play in 26 games his rookie year. While he jumped in and out of the starting lineup during his time in Detroit, time and time again, he has failed to live up to the hype that he had coming into the draft. A rebuilding team might take a chance on him in free agency in hopes that they can unlock the potential that scouts saw in him leading up to the draft, as he was recently waived by Detroit on February 8th. However, his 4 seasons with the Pistons were not too promising. With the 8th overall pick, the New York Knicks selected Obi Toppin. While he's gone on to prove himself as one of the league's most entertaining dunkers, winning the 2022 dunk contest, he struggled early on in his career to find a role for himself. During his 3 seasons with the Knicks, he only started in 15 games and was traded from the team in the 2023 offseason. It appeared that he was well on his way to being a bust. However, he's found new life with the Pacers. Not only did he start in 28 games, but he also averaged a career high in points, rebounds, and assists per game. Along with this, he shot a career high 57.3% from the field and 40.3% from 3. It appears that a change of scenery is exactly what he needed, and he may end up developing into a quality starting stretch 4. The Washington Wizards selected Denny Avdija with the 9th overall pick. While the Wizards have been one of the worst franchises in the league throughout the brunt of his time with the team, Avdija has quietly developed into a solid starting small forward. He made a huge jump in the 2023-24 season, setting a career high in every statistical category and averaging 14.7 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3.8 assists per game, while shooting 50.6% from the field and 37.4% from 3. While this season from Avdija did not result in much team success, he did finish in 6th place for this year's Most Improved Player of the Year award, and it's a great sign for things to come from him in the future. With the 10th overall pick, the Phoenix Suns selected Jalen Smith. During his time with the Suns, they were contending for championships, and as a result of this, they didn't have time to give substantial minutes to a young developing player. He spent a fair amount of his rookie season in the G League because of this, and during the 2021-22 season was traded to the Pacers. Since joining the Pacers, they transitioned him from the power forward to center position. While he struggled to overtake Miles Turner for that starting spot, he has served as a very talented backup. In the 2023-24 season, Smith was an efficient scorer, shooting 59.2% from the field and 42.4% from three, while averaging a very respectable 9.9 points and 5.5 rebounds per game. Considering how quickly his time in the league could have come to an end after being held back by the Suns, it's great to see him finally get the chance to develop in Indiana. The San Antonio Spurs selected Devin Vassell with the 11th overall pick, and he has proven himself as one of the top players from this draft class, taking over as one of the premier scorers on the Spurs. Even with the addition of Victor Wembanyama in the 2023 draft, Vassell still played a huge role, averaging 19.5 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game, while shooting a very efficient 37.2% from three. Vassell finished 12th in the Most Improved Player of the Year award voting in the 2023-24 season, and if he can continue to improve as his career plays out, him and Wembanyama could be a very scary duo in the future. With the 12th overall pick, the Sacramento Kings selected Tyrese Halliburton. He had a strong rookie season, averaging 13 points and 5.3 assists per game. This landed him on the all-rookie team, and he also finished third in Rookie of the Year voting. However, with De'Aaron Fox already being established and probably the face of that franchise, the Kings were now faced with a logjam at the point guard position. They solved this issue by trading Halliburton to the Pacers. Since joining the Pacers, Halliburton has established himself as arguably the best pure point guard that the league has to offer. In his first two full seasons with the Pacers, he's made the All-Star game both times, averaging a combined 20.4 points, 10.7 assists, and 1.4 steals per game, while shooting 48.3% from the field and 38% from three over this stretch. The 2023-24 season was his best yet, leading the league with 10.9 assists per game. The future is very bright for Indiana with Halliburton at the helm. On to number 13, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Kira Lewis Jr. He had a solid rookie season, averaging 6.4 points and 2.3 assists per game, but he did this on a inefficient 38.6% from the field and 33.3% from three. The following year, he suffered a torn ACL and sprained MCL that kept him sidelined for the remainder of that season. After another quiet year in the 2022-23 season, Lewis Jr. was traded to the Raptors. However, his time in Toronto was extremely short-lived, with him playing only 2 minutes in just one game for the team. He finished out the 2023-24 season with the Utah Jazz, and he was not given much of a role at all, averaging only 9.9 minutes per game in the 12 games that he played in. His future with the Jazz is also likely up in the air, and if they move on from him, there's definitely a chance that he could end up going unsigned. With the 14th overall pick, the Boston Celtics selected Aaron Nesmith. With the Celtics being a contending team from the time that Nesmith was added to the roster, he was expected to produce immediately. He served as a quality bench option for them. However, due to the talent that was already on the team, there were plenty of games that he didn't even see the floor. In the 2022 offseason, he was dealt to the Pacers, adding yet another member of the 2020 class to their young and upcoming roster. Once he was given a bigger role in Indiana, Nesmith developed into a very talented starting caliber player. He had the best season of his career in the 2023-24 season, averaging 12.2 points and 3.8 rebounds per game, while shooting an incredible 41.9% from three. This effort earned himself 14th place in the Most Improved Player of the Year award voting. He is yet another Pacer on this list whose future is very bright. At number 15, the Orlando Magic selected Cole Anthony. His father, Greg Anthony, spent 11 years in the NBA, and thus far throughout his career, Cole has outplayed his dad. His time with the Magic got off to a hot start in his rookie season. However, injuries only allowed him to play in 47 games. Despite these setbacks, he had an elite second season in which he averaged a career high in points, rebounds, and assists with 16.3, 5.4, and 5.7 respectively. Despite these impressive numbers, Anthony still could have improved his efficiency quite a bit, shooting 39.1% from the field and 33.8% from 3. In his past 2 seasons, he has seen his role regress with the team, coming off the bench almost exclusively. Despite this setback, it's given him the chance to hone in his game as an electric scorer and distributor off the bench. With the 16th overall pick, the Portland Trail Blazers selected Isaiah Stewart. However, they immediately traded him to the Pistons. He had a great rookie season, averaging 7.9 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game, earning himself a spot on the all-rookie team. As his career has continued to progress in Detroit, he's worked his way up to a starting role. While he did begin his career as a center, the addition of Jalen Duren gave him the perfect opportunity to slide over to the power forward spot. With Stewart being an extremely versatile defender and making great strides with his three-pointer, this could not have worked out any better for him. While he was only able to play in 45 games throughout the 2023-24 season due to a hamstring strain, he did finish the season shooting 38.3% from 3. If he can keep his attitude in check, Stewart could be a nice piece for the Pistons team over these next couple of years. The Minnesota Timberwolves drafted Aleksej Pokusevski with the 17th overall pick, but he was traded to the Thunder before playing in a single game with the team. He was the youngest player selected in this draft class, and it was clear that he still needed some time to develop. He showed flashes of being a truly talented player, becoming the second youngest player in NBA history to hit 5 threes in a game, only behind LeBron James. Despite this, he was not putting up consistent enough performances to be a mainstay in the rotation. In the 2023-24 season, he was traded to the Charlotte Hornets, where he played a similar role. With Pokusevski only being set to turn 23 next season, he still has plenty of time to develop, and being on a rebuilding team like the Hornets could be the perfect place for him to do so. With the 18th overall pick, the Dallas Mavericks selected Josh Green. Since joining the Mavericks, Green has made great strides in developing his game in a way to be a perfect role player. In his rookie season, he shot an abysmal 16% from 3, but in the 23-24 season, he improved that all the way up to 38.5%. Playing in an offense that features ball-dominant guards like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, having 3-and-D players available like Green will hopefully guarantee him a spot on this roster for many years to come. The Brooklyn Nets selected Saddiq Bey with the 19th overall pick, but he was traded to the Pistons before playing a single game in Brooklyn. Early on in his career, it appeared as if the Pistons found a steal, with Bey averaging 12.2 points and 4.5 rebounds per game while shooting 38% from 3. He was named to the All-Rookie team and even finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting. He showed a great deal of development in his second season as well, arguably having the best season of his career, where he set career marks in both points and assists per game with 16.1 and 5.4 respectively. However, he did take a bit of a step back the following year and was traded from the Pistons to the Atlanta Hawks. In the 2023-24 season, he was a consistent starter for Atlanta. While he had his fair share of struggles on offense, he is a very talented defender. With the 20th overall pick, the Miami Heat would go on to select Precious Achiuwa. He only spent a single season with the Heat before he was dealt to the Raptors. While he spent most of the time in Toronto coming off the bench, he was given a much bigger role in Toronto compared to Miami. During the 2023-24 season, he was traded once again, this time to the New York Knicks. As a result of New York having a very deep center rotation, Achiuwa was moved back to the power forward position. He has a very traditional skill set for a big man, thriving inside the paint on offense, dominating on the boards on both ends, and serving as a talented shot blocker, which he has shown a lot throughout the 2022-23 playoffs. Arguably, the biggest steal of the 2020 NBA draft came at the 21st overall pick when the Philadelphia 76ers took Tyrese Maxey. His career got off to a bit of a slow start, with the 76ers being a contending team. They didn't really have too much time to allow Maxey to develop, and as a result of this, he only started in 8 games during his rookie season. However, the following year, it did not take him long at all to prove that he was more than deserving of a starting spot, only coming off the bench in 1 game. He finished 6th in Most Improved Player of the Year voting, averaging 17.5 points and 4.3 assists per game while shooting an elite 42.7% from 3. He made another substantial jump in the 2022-23 season, establishing himself as the 3rd star on Philadelphia's loaded roster. Even with James Harden, a ball-dominant guard on the team, Maxey was still able to carve out a substantial role for himself in that offense. But the departure of Harden in the 2023-24 2024 season opened up the perfect opportunity for Maxey to truly achieve stardom. While Joel Embiid was sidelined with an injury for a good chunk of this past season, Maxey filled in as the first in Philly's offense, proving that he was more than capable of putting a team on his back. He finished the season averaging 25.9 points and 6.2 assists per game, earning himself a spot in the All-Star game and bringing home the Most Improved Player of the Year award. Barring any massive changes, the future is super bright with the 76ers as long as Embiid can stay healthy. It appears that they have found an elite guard to play alongside their former MVP big man. With the 22nd overall pick, the Denver Nuggets selected Zeke Naji. With the Nuggets being such a talented roster throughout the entirety of Naji's time with the team, he's struggled to break through and become a piece of the rotation. Throughout his 4 years with the team, he's only been able to crack the starting lineup 7 different times. However, with how well Aaron Gordon has been playing over these past 4 seasons, there's really no way that he was going to play in the first place. His best year so far in the league came in the 2021-22 season, where he averaged 6.6 points and 3.6 rebounds per game. This current season, he averaged the least amount of points per game since his rookie season, and there's definitely a chance that we could see him on the move this offseason. This next player is one of the few first-round picks from the 2020 class that is already out of the league. The New York Knicks drafted Leandro Bolmaro with the 23rd overall pick. However, before playing in a single game with the Knicks, he was traded to the Timberwolves. He had a very rough rookie season with the T-Wolves where he shot 31.5% from the field and 27.8% from 3, averaging just 1.4 points per game. Minnesota didn't see much promise in Bolmaro and he was sent to the Utah Jazz. Somehow, he had an even worse season with the Jazz, shooting 15% from the field and missing every 3 that he took. In the 14 games that he played in, Bolmaro only averaged 0.4 points per game. Unsurprisingly, this was his last season in the NBA, and he currently plays in the Liga ACB. With the 24th overall pick, the Milwaukee Bucks selected RJ Hampton. Just 4 years into his career, and he has already become quite the journeyman. Before even taking the court for the Bucks, he was traded to the Nuggets, where he struggled pretty bad early on in his rookie season and was dealt to the Orlando Magic after just 25 games with Denver. Hampton had the best year of his career during his first full season in Orlando, averaging 7.6 points, 3 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game, even starting in 14 of the 64 games that he played in. However, he began to look like the same player that he was in his rookie season early on in the 2022-23 season, and Hampton was eventually waived from the Magic. It only took him 2 days before he found a new home, this time with the Detroit Pistons, where he finished out the season. Hampton did not impress Detroit's coaching staff enough, and he was waived once again once the season was over. It was clear that teams around the league were still willing to take a risk on him, though, with the Heat signing Hampton to a 2-way deal. While he did spend most of the 2023-24 season in the G League, he still saw the floor in 8 games for the Heat, but shot an awful 28.6% from the field and 12.5% from 3. The Oklahoma City Thunder selected Emmanuel Quickley with the 25th overall pick, but he was traded to the New York Knicks. The Knicks found a diamond in the rough with Quickley. He got his career off to a scorching hot start, making the all-rookie team after averaging 11.4 points per game. As a member of the Knicks, he established himself as one of the most talented 6 men that the league had to offer, finishing in 10th place for the award in the 2021-22 season and 2nd place the following year. Unfortunately, his time with the Knicks came to an end in the 2023-24 season when he was traded to the Toronto Raptors. As a member of the Raptors, Quickley took over as a full-time starter for the first time in his career and averaged a grade 18.6 points per game. With the 26th overall pick, the Boston Celtics selected Peyton Pritchard. While it took some time for him to get his career going, it appears as if he has truly found himself a role in Boston this season. He's been a very talented and efficient option off the bench, averaging 9.6 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 3.4 assists per game, while shooting a very efficient 46.8% from the field and 38.5% from 3. Along with this, Pritchard plays very hard defense. You cannot ask much more out of a role player who was drafted late in the first round, and after this season, Pritchard likely has earned himself a spot on the team for many years to come. The Utah Jazz selected Udoka Azubuike with their 27th overall pick. During his first 3 years in the league, he bounced between the Jazz and their G League team, playing in only 68 games over this stretch. After letting him walk in free agency, Azubuike signed with the Phoenix Suns in a two-way deal. With the Suns coming into the season as finals hopefuls, there was not a lot of room in the rotation for him, leading to him once again spending most of the year in the G League. It's going to be very interesting to see how this offseason plays out for Azubuike and if he's going to get a chance to put his talents on display moving forward. With the 28th overall pick, the Los Angeles Lakers selected Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels would have been the perfect versatile defender that the Lakers could have used this season. However, they traded him to the Timberwolves before playing a minute in LA. As a member of the Timberwolves, McDaniels has proven himself as one of the most talented defenders that the league has to offer. While he's very hit or miss from three, he more than makes up for that with his talents on the defensive side of the ball. McDaniels is an essential piece of the hounding Minnesota defense that should be good for many years to come. At the 29th overall spot, the Toronto Raptors selected the legendary Malachi Flynn. Throughout his first 3 seasons in the league, he bounced between the Raptors and their G League affiliate. In the 2023-24 season, he was traded from Toronto to the Knicks. After just 14 games in New York, he was then dealt to the Pistons. Despite not playing much of a role in Detroit compared to his rookie season in Toronto, he had a game to remember at the tail end of the 2023-24 season, which is why I refer to him as legendary. On April 3rd, 2024, Flynn went out and dropped an unexpected 50 points against the Atlanta Hawks. To make this achievement even crazier, this was tied for the second most points ever scored from a player coming off the bench in NBA history. Rounding out the first round, after Anthony Edwards, the Memphis Grizzlies found a gem in Desmond Bane. He began his career with an appearance on the All-Rookie team, averaging 9.2 points per game while shooting a lights-out 43.2% from three. Following season, he finished 5th in Most Improved Player of the Year voting. Every season in the league so far, he has improved, with his best season yet coming in the 2023-24 season. He averaged 23.7 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game, while shooting an elite 38.1% from three. This bump in numbers could be attributed to the Grizzlies not having Ja Morant, but even when Morant is healthy, Bane is still a really good option. While injuries have limited his ability throughout the last couple of seasons, when he is on the court, Bane is the type of player that any team would love to have, being an efficient and effective scorer on offense while also being a very tough defender. Now, I highly recommend you guys check out this video right here of 7 NBA players who disappeared way too quickly from the league, and YouTube's got you covered on the other one.